It's all right. I'm just finishing up cleaning so you all have a safe and sparkly classroom to play in.
Ma'am, can you pretend to be my mom for the school play? The lonely CEO's daughter whispered. The lunchtime buzz filled the elementary school cafeteria. Laughter, trays clattering, juice boxes popping open. Children chattered in clusters, their high-pitched voices bouncing off the tiled walls like a well-rehearsed symphony of youth. At the far end of the room, Anna moved quietly between tables, her pale blue uniform slightly wrinkled, her golden blonde hair tied back neatly in a low ponytail. She carried a tray of spaghetti and applesauce, placing it gently before a small boy who grinned in appreciation. She gave him a soft smile and moved on. No one really noticed Anna. To most, she was just the janitor, the one who swept floors, cleaned up juice spills, wiped down tables, the one who always kept her head down. But if anyone had looked closely, really looked, they might have seen the sadness lingering behind her bright blue eyes, a quiet ache that seemed etched into her expression. No matter how gently she smiled. At the farthest table in the cafeteria, near the windows where the light spilled in from the playground, a little girl sat alone. She wore a soft pink dress, her light brown curls falling messily around her shoulders. A tiny pair of white shoes dangled from her feet, not quite reaching the floor. Her tray sat untouched in front of her. Spaghetti gone cold, juice box unopened. Her blue eyes, so much like Anna's, stared blankly at her food. Anna's footsteps slowed. The little girl did not speak. She did not play. She did not laugh like the others. Something pulled at Anna's chest. Something primal. Something painful. She had seen this girl before, of course, just in passing. But today, the stillness in her felt different. The girl looked up. Their eyes met. Anna froze. The child slipped off the bench, walked slowly toward her, her tiny hands nervously gripping the edge of her dress. "Ma'am," she whispered, barely audible above the cafeteria noise. "Can you pretend to be my mom for the school play? Just for today." Anna's heart stopped. She stared at the little face in front of her. Round cheeks, soft curls, blue eyes full of longing. Blue eyes. That same impossible shade of blue. Her throat tightened, her hands trembled. She crouched down instinctively, her knees almost giving out beneath her. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. What did you say?" Anna asked softly, her voice catching. The girl looked down, then back up with a mixture of embarrassment and hope. "Everyone in class has a mommy coming for the play next week," she said. "But my daddy said he is too busy again. And my teacher said we could ask someone we trust just to pretend, only pretend." She paused, shyly, twirling a lock of hair around her finger. "You look kind," the girl said simply. "You feel safe." Anna swallowed hard. The noise of the cafeteria faded into a dull hum. The world felt suddenly very far away. She stared into those eyes. She knew those eyes. Her fingers brushed the girl's cheek, almost by accident. It felt like touching a dream she had forced herself to forget. A name floated up from a memory long buried. Chloe. She had whispered that name to herself for years. Held it in her chest like a secret prayer. Imagined 100 times what her little girl might look like now. And here she was, right here, asking for a mother. Not knowing her real one was kneeling in front of her. Tears blurred Anna's vision. She tried to blink them back. I would be honored," Anna whispered, her voice trembling. Chloe smiled, a small, hopeful smile. Anna bit the inside of her cheek, fighting the overwhelming need to break down right there on the cafeteria floor. She nodded slowly, unable to find more words. She had spent years searching, and somehow, impossibly, her daughter had found her first. The storage room behind the cafeteria was quiet, dimly lit, lined with stacked paper towel boxes and janitorial supplies. A faint scent of lemon-scented cleaner lingered in the air. Anna sat on a metal folding chair in the corner, elbows on her knees, head in her hands. Her fingers trembled. She had not stopped shaking since Chloe's voice whispered those words earlier. "Can you pretend to be my mom?" Pretend. The irony was unbearable. Her name, Chloe, still echoed in her ears, awakening memories she had spent years trying to silence. But now everything came rushing back with blinding clarity. More than 5 years ago, Anna had not been a janitor. She had been the wife of a powerful man, a beautiful home, a bright future. Jason Carter had once looked at her like she was the only light in his world. And when Chloe was born, everything should have been perfect, but it was not. In the weeks after giving birth, Anna had changed. Her smile faded. Joy slipped through her fingers like sand. She could not sleep. She cried without knowing why. She felt broken. No one had warned her about postpartum depression. She only knew that something was deeply wrong, and the guilt of not being the perfect mother consumed her. She remembered the night she stared at Chloe in the crib, terrified she would fail her. The fear was not rational, but it was real. She began to believe Chloe would be better off without her. The pain wrapped around her like a vice, unrelenting. Jason tried to help at first, but he was always busy. Meetings, phone calls, flights. His mother, cold and commanding, stepped in. "You need rest, Anna," she had said one morning, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Let us take care of Chloe for a while. You need to get well for her." Anna had agreed, hoping it would only be for a short time. A few weeks at a quiet facility to gather herself, to breathe again, to stop feeling like a ghost in her own life. But when she left, she wrote a letter, handwritten, heartfelt. She poured everything into those pages. Her love for Jason, her regret, her promise to return. She tucked the letter into an envelope and handed it to his mother. "Please make sure Jason gets this," she had said. His mother had nodded, smiled, lied. Anna had no idea the letter would never reach him. No idea that her own words, her final tether, would be destroyed by the very hands she trusted. 2 weeks into treatment, she was told not to contact anyone. "Focus on recovery," the nurses said. "Your family will be there when you are better." But when she returned, finally ready, finally healing, Jason was gone. The house was sold. His phone number disconnected. No one would tell her where they had gone. She had stood on the sidewalk that day holding her bag and the small gift she had bought for Chloe, a stuffed rabbit, feeling like the world had closed in. Jason had believed she had walked out, abandoned them. She had tried everything, hired private investigators, called old friends. Nothing. It was like they had vanished. For years, Anna drifted. She took jobs that kept her close to children, schools, libraries, daycares. Her heart pulled her to places where she thought she might feel Chloe's presence. It was hopeless, but she never stopped hoping. And then this school, a small elite elementary school in a quiet suburb. She had no reason to believe Chloe would be here, but something in her gut had told her to take the job. And today, her daughter had spoken to her. Anna pressed her hands to her face, holding in the sob that threatened to tear through her. She had lost so much. But now, sitting in this dim storage room, surrounded by cleaning supplies and broken memories, she realized something. She had been found. Not by the world, not by Jason, but by the little girl with blue eyes who had simply said, "You look kind." The small auditorium buzzed with excitement as the children prepared for their dress rehearsal. Bright construction paper hearts lined the stage walls. Above the curtain, bold letters spelled out, "Mother's Day, a celebration of love." Anna stood backstage, smoothing out the wrinkles in her modest navy blouse. Her hands trembled slightly. She had never imagined she would be here on this stage, standing in the role that was once hers by right. Across the room, Chloe twirled in her soft pink dress, her curls bouncing with each spin. She beamed as she spotted Anna. "You came," she whispered, rushing over and throwing her small arms around Anna's waist. Anna knelt down, hugging her gently, careful not to let the flood of emotion overtake her. "Of course I did, sweetheart." Chloe grinned, her eyes lighting up. "I told everyone you would." Before Anna could reply, Chloe grabbed her hand and pulled her toward a group of children gathered in a semicircle. "This is my mom," Chloe announced proudly. A few kids nodded. One boy smiled. A girl in overalls whispered, "She's pretty." Anna smiled politely, but her heart felt like it would crack open. If only they knew. The teacher clapped her hands. All right, everyone. Let's take our places. This is just a rehearsal, but let's make it our best one yet. Anna followed Chloe to the center of the stage. Their scene was short, a simple dialogue between a child and her mother about love and gratitude. Chloe had memorized her lines perfectly. As the spotlight flickered on, Chloe looked up at Anna with glowing eyes. "Mom," she began, "thank you for always being there, even when no one else was. I love you more than all the stars." Anna stared at her, caught off guard. That was not part of the script. Chloe had added that line herself. Anna's voice trembled. "I love you too, sweet girl. More than you'll ever know." There was a pause. In that brief silence, a moment passed between them, unspoken, but unmistakably real. The teacher, standing near the front row, discreetly filmed parts of the rehearsal on her phone to share with parents later in the class group chat. From the wings, another teacher whispered, "They're amazing together. Look at how she holds her." Anna gently pulled Chloe into a hug as the scene ended, her hand stroking the child's hair. Chloe relaxed into her embrace like she had belonged there forever. The applause was soft but sincere from teachers, aides, and even a few janitorial staff who had stopped to watch. Anna blinked back tears. She had imagined holding Chloe like this countless times in her dreams, but none of those dreams felt as real or as heartbreakingly perfect as this moment. When the rehearsal ended, the children rushed off stage, laughing and bumping into one another. Anna stood behind, watching Chloe disappear into the crowd, still stunned by what had just unfolded. "This is my mom," she whispered the words to herself over and over. Back in the front office, Miss Linda, the class assistant, smiled as she uploaded the short video to the parent group thread on the school app. It was a sweet moment, too beautiful not to share. She didn't know that one clip would unravel everything. Hundreds of miles away, in a sleek office on the 27th floor of a downtown skyscraper, Jason Carter leaned back in his leather chair, reviewing quarterly reports when his phone buzzed. A new message from the parent group chat. He rarely checked it, but something compelled him to open the video. It began with a Mother's Day title screen, then panned to Chloe, standing on stage beside a woman with soft blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. His heart stopped. Anna, his ex-wife, Chloe's mother. Jason sat forward, eyes wide, breath caught in his chest. He watched as Anna knelt beside Chloe, as they hugged, as they spoke the words of a mother and daughter, his daughter. The video ended. Jason stared at the screen, frozen. It was her. She was back, and she was holding his daughter. The principal's office was quiet. Too quiet. The ticking of the wall clock filled the tense air, each second like a warning drum beat. Anna sat stiffly in the chair across from the window, hands clenched tightly in her lap. Her blue eyes were red but dry for now. She had been summoned here without explanation, but she already knew. The door opened sharply. Jason Carter stepped in, tall, composed, and unmistakably furious. He closed the door behind him with a click that echoed through the silence. His sharp suit contrasted with the warm, colorful posters on the wall. His eyes met hers, and for a moment, neither of them said a word. Then, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he snapped. Anna flinched. Jason took a step forward, his jaw tight, voice low, but laced with fury. "You had no right to be near her, to touch her, to pretend." "I wasn't pretending," Anna said quietly, cutting him off, voice shaking. "I wasn't pretending anything." Jason's eyes flashed. "You walked out on her on me, and now you show up like nothing happened. You think you can just stroll into her life in a janitor's uniform and play mother." "I didn't walk out," she whispered. Her voice cracked. "Jason, you don't know what happened. You never knew because no one let me tell you. I saw what I needed to see." He growled. "You left. You disappeared. You didn't even try to come back." Anna stood up, her composure unraveling. "That's not true." Jason laughed bitterly, but there was no humor in it. "Tell me something. Do you even know what her favorite book is? What she's afraid of at night? Do you know she still sleeps with the same stuffed bunny I gave her when she was a baby?" because it's the only thing that makes her feel safe. I should know, Anna said, voice trembling now. I should know, but I wasn't allowed to. Jason, please, if you just listen. No, he snapped. Stay away from her. Whatever this is, whatever guilt you're trying to ease, it ends here. She doesn't need you. We don't need you. Anna's knees felt weak, but she stayed on her feet, tears finally slipping down her cheeks. She came to me, Jason. I didn't seek her out. She asked me to be her mom for a play just for a day. And for that one moment, she felt like mine again. She's not yours, Jason said coldly. Not anymore. Behind the door, a tiny gasp broke the silence. Jason turned. So, did Anna. The door creaked open slightly, revealing Chloe's wide, confused blue eyes peeking through. Daddy, she said softly. Jason's face dropped. Chloe. Chloe stepped into the room, her little hands gripping the fabric of her dress. Why were you yelling? Why are you mad at Miss Anna? Anna instinctively took a step toward her, but stopped herself. Jason knelt beside his daughter, guilt flickering in his eyes. Sweetheart, this is complicated. Chloe looked at Anna, then back at her father. She's nice. She made me feel like I had a real mom. Jason closed his eyes. Anna turned away, unable to bear the weight in Chloe's voice. The silence that followed was sharp, thick with pain. Chloe stared at them both, her young mind trying to make sense of emotions too big for her small heart. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows through the school's rear corridor, painting the old linoleum floor in stripes of amber and gray. Anna sat on a weathered bench outside the art supply room, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Across from her sat Mrs. Delaney, one of the oldest teachers at the school. With her silver-gray bun and reading glasses perched low on her nose, she carried the kind of presence that made students behave better just by walking into the room. But today, her sharp eyes were soft with concern. I saw what happened, Anna, Mrs. Delaney said gently after rehearsal. Then, in the office today. Are you all right? Anna forced a smile that barely formed. I will be. Mrs. Delaney hesitated, then leaned forward. That little girl, Chloe, she's your daughter, isn't she? Anna's eyes welled immediately. She nodded slowly, unable to form words. I thought so, the older woman said. She has your eyes. Anna drew a shaky breath, wiping a tear with the back of her hand. She doesn't know. Jason won't let me near her. He still believes I left them. That I abandoned her. Mrs. Delaney's expression darkened. He still believes that. Yes, because that's what he was told. Anna swallowed hard. I never meant to leave her. I was sick after giving birth. I didn't even know what was happening to me. His mother said I needed rest, and she offered to help. She took me to a clinic for a few weeks. I wrote a letter for Jason, for Chloe. I told them I'd be back soon. I trusted her to give it to him. Mrs. Delaney's eyes widened. You wrote a letter? Yes, Anna whispered. I poured everything into it. I begged him to wait for me, but when I came back, they were gone. Moved away. No trace, no goodbye, just gone. The teacher's lips pressed into a thin line. Her face tightened with something close to anger, or maybe guilt. I never told you this, Mrs. Delaney said slowly. But years ago, before I worked at this school, I did some tutoring at the Carter household. Anna looked up, startled. I was hired by Jason's mother to help with Chloe's early learning, she continued. It was only for a few months, but I remember there was a letter, a handwritten one, addressed to Jason with your name on the envelope. Anna's breath caught. I saw it on the kitchen counter one morning. Mrs. Delaney said, the handwriting was beautiful. She looked at me, and before I could say a word, she took it and stuffed it into a drawer. She hid it. Anna's voice broke. Mrs. Delaney nodded slowly. Later that day, I overheard her talking on the phone. She said she couldn't risk Jason forgiving you, that he was better off angry, and that Chloe needed to be protected from you. Anna covered her mouth as the truth hit her like a wave. All the years, all the pain, it had never been her choice to disappear. It had been stolen from her. I should have said something then, Mrs. Delaney whispered. I'm so sorry, Anna. Anna shook her head, tears falling freely now. No, thank you. You've given me something I never had before. Proof. A rustle came from down the hallway. They turned. Jason stood at the end of the corridor, frozen in place. Neither of them had seen him approach. His face was pale, his eyes wide, as if the floor beneath him had just vanished. He had heard everything.
For a moment, he said nothing.
His lips parted, but no words came. Anna stood, chest rising and falling in panic and disbelief. Jason met her eyes, those familiar blue eyes he had once loved and hated all at once. And now they stared back at him with the weight of truth he never thought he would hear. He blinked. And for the first time in 5 years, he doubted everything he thought he knew. The school auditorium was buzzing. Parents filled every seat, adjusting phone cameras, whispering excitedly, scanning the program printed in pastel pink. The stage was decorated with paper flowers, glittering hearts, and a banner that read, "A Mother's Love, First Grade Spring Play." Backstage, chaos reigned. Children rustled in their costumes, some tugging at itchy collars, others forgetting their lines. But Chloe stood quietly in a corner, her hands clutched together, eyes downcast. She had not smiled all afternoon. Anna, standing near the exit door with her jacket already on, watched from a distance. Her heart pulled with every glance at Chloe. But after what happened with Jason, after the hallway, the confrontation, the weight of everything, she had made her decision. She would leave. It was not fair to Chloe.
Not now.
Not when the lines between healing and hurting were still so blurred. Just as she turned to leave, a hand gently touched her shoulder. She froze. Jason stood behind her. His suit was more relaxed than usual. No tie, top button open, but his eyes held something new. Not anger, not suspicion.
Clarity.
She needs her mom, he said softly. Anna blinked, unsure if she had heard him right. Jason nodded. Stay, please. She opened her mouth, but no words came, only a rush of emotion too big to speak. Slowly, she followed him toward the side of the stage where Chloe was being lined up with the others. When Chloe spotted her, her face lit up for the first time that day. You came, she whispered. Anna knelt down, smoothing the hem of Chloe's dress. I wouldn't miss it for the world. The lights dimmed, the curtain rose. The play was simple. Each child had a short monologue about mothers, followed by a group song, and a final thank you moment on stage. But when Chloe's turn came, something changed in the air. She stepped forward, center stage in her pink dress and white shoes, holding a paper heart she had colored herself. She looked out at the crowd, then turned her head toward Anna, who stood just off stage. My mom is someone who loves me, she began. Even when it is hard, even when the whole world says she shouldn't. A quiet gasp moved through the audience. Jason, seated in the front row, leaned forward. Chloe's voice trembled. My mom makes me feel safe just by being there. She doesn't have to be perfect. She just has to be mine. Silence. Then a single tear slid down Anna's cheek. She stepped forward, just one instinctive step toward the stage. And then Chloe ran to her. Right there, mid-performance, forgetting lines and stage directions, she threw her arms around Anna's waist and buried her face in her side. Anna dropped to her knees and held her tight, unable to hold back the sob that broke free. From his seat, Jason stood. He walked up the side steps slowly, not wanting to take away from the moment, but drawn toward them by something bigger than pride, bigger than pain. He reached them and knelt down beside them both. Anna looked up through her tears, unsure. Jason hesitated, then gently reached for her hand, and for the first time in over 5 years, their fingers intertwined. The auditorium was silent. Not a phone clicked. Not a whisper stirred. Just a hush that felt sacred. 3 lives, 1 moment. No one watching knew the full story, but they all felt it. Love, loss, and something slowly being mended. The days that followed, the play felt like waking up from a long winter. The warmth returned slowly, gently, 1 moment at a time. Jason invited Anna and Chloe to join him for dinner at the little Italian place near the school. The next day, they went to the park where Chloe squealed as Jason pushed her on the swings and Anna caught her in open arms at the bottom of the slide. They laughed, really laughed, for the first time in years. In the evenings, Anna would read to Chloe while Jason worked in the kitchen. Then Jason would quietly join them on the couch, listening to the sound of Anna's voice as Chloe rested her head on her lap, eyes fluttering closed. It felt like something broken was quietly stitching itself together again. One night, as they walked out of a bookstore, Chloe clutching a new picture book in one hand and Anna's fingers in the other, Jason turned to Anna. "I didn't know she could smile like that," he said. Anna looked over at Chloe. "She has your stubbornness," she replied with a soft smile. "And your heart," he answered almost in a whisper. There were still awkward silences, still pauses filled with unspoken pain, but the conversation came easier now. They talked about the past honestly, painfully, but without blame. Jason had cried once quietly when Chloe was asleep. Anna had found him sitting alone on the porch, eyes red. "I'm sorry," he had said, "for believing what I was told, for not fighting harder to find the truth." Anna had said nothing, just sat beside him, resting her head against his shoulder. Forgiveness was not a switch. It was a slow, steady flame, and it was burning again. But peace never comes without one final test. It arrived on a Saturday morning. Jason had stepped out to grab coffee. Anna and Chloe were painting birdhouses in the backyard when the front gate creaked open. A woman stood there dressed immaculately with icy eyes and a purse clutched tightly in both hands. "Hello, Anna," she said coolly. Anna stiffened. Chloe looked up confused. "Who's that, Mommy?" she asked innocently. Anna didn't answer. Jason's mother stepped forward. "I heard you've returned," she said. "I assumed this little reunion was temporary, but it seems I was mistaken." Anna stood up slowly. "You don't belong here." "I disagree," the older woman replied. "I'm Chloe's grandmother, and I will not stand by while you manipulate your way back into her life." "I'm not manipulating anyone." "You're unstable," she hissed. "You always were. You left that child once, and I won't let you hurt her again." "I never left her." Anna's voice rose with emotion. "You made Jason believe that. You took my letter. You destroyed my chance to come back." Chloe clung to Anna's leg, frightened by the tone. Just then, the gates slammed again. Jason stood behind his mother, coffee still in hand, frozen in disbelief. His mother turned. "Jason, call your lawyer. If she keeps interfering, I'll petition for custody myself. I'll do whatever I must to protect Chloe." Jason stared at her, then walked forward slowly, deliberately. "No," he said firmly. She blinked. "Excuse me? You don't get to threaten her. Not anymore." He looked at Anna, then down at Chloe, who stared up at him with wide blue eyes. He turned back to his mother. His voice was calm, but unshakable. "She's Chloe's mother and mine. Once I won't lose her again." Silence fell like a weight between them. His mother's expression faltered, disbelief slowly turning to something that looked like fear. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Jason knelt beside Chloe and wrapped his arms around her. Anna crouched beside them, brushing hair from her daughter's eyes. For the first time, they stood together, not in secret or shadow, but as a family. The sky was soft and blue, scattered with slow-moving clouds. The weekend sun cast a golden glow across the park where families gathered with picnic blankets and baskets, their laughter echoing through the air. Near the edge of a wide grassy field, a little girl in a pink dress darted between the trees, arms outstretched like wings. "Mom, Dad, look at me," Chloe shouted joyfully as she twirled and spun, her curls bouncing with each step. Anna sat on a nearby bench beneath the shade of a large oak, smiling as her daughter ran through the grass. Her blonde hair shimmered in the sunlight, tucked into a loose braid that had begun to unravel from chasing after Chloe earlier. A warm breeze tugged at her cardigan. Without a word, Jason walked up behind her and draped a soft cream-colored scarf over her shoulders. Anna turned slightly, touched by the simple gesture.
"Thank you," she said.
Jason gave a small smile, then crouched down in front of her. "You untied your shoes again," he said gently, motioning toward her feet. "I got a little too into freeze tag," she laughed, lifting one foot. Jason didn't say anything else. He just reached down and carefully retied both laces, double knotting them so they would not come loose again. His hands moved with quiet confidence. The same hands that had once held hers in youth, in fire, in heartbreak. When he was done, he stayed crouched in front of her, looking up. "I miss too much," he said softly. Anna looked at him for a long moment, then reached out and touched his cheek. Jason stood and sat beside her, their shoulders touching. For a while, they just watched Chloe chase butterflies through the tall grass. Her laughter bright and boundless. "Do you think she remembers?" Anna asked quietly. "From when she was a baby?" Jason shook his head. "Maybe not in words, but I think she feels it. She always looked like something was missing until now." Anna's eyes shimmered. Jason looked at her again, more certain than he had been in years. He reached over and rested his hand gently on the small of her back. Then he leaned in and whispered, "Let's not miss another play again as a family." Anna smiled, a full open smile that reached her eyes. She nodded, tears brimming but not falling. Across the field, Chloe turned and saw them watching.
"Come play," she called.
They stood and walked toward her hand in hand. Chloe ran toward them, wrapping her arms around both their legs in a giggling embrace. Jason lifted her into his arms, and Anna leaned into them, her heart full in a way she had not thought possible. There, under the warm light of an ordinary afternoon, nothing was perfect, but everything was right. A mother, a father, a daughter, and a second chance no one saw coming. Sometimes life gives us second chances in the most unexpected ways. Not to erase the past, but to write a new chapter. One filled with truth, healing, and love. If this story touched your heart, if it made you pause and feel something deep within, please take a moment to subscribe and tap that hype button to support hopeful and soul stories. Your support means the world and allows us to keep sharing stories that heal, inspire, and remind us all that even in brokenness, love still finds a way. We'll see you in the next story. Stay kind. Stay human. Stay hopeful.